Alright, y'all, so tonight the conference final starts with the Pacers at the Celtics, and this is a conference finals that a lot of people didn't see coming. Like, nobody saw the Pacers in here. Nobody saw the Timberwolves in here. I saw the Mavericks in here, but I thought they were going to go against the Nuggets. I did not see the Pacers in here. I had the Bucks or the Knicks in here, and I was going to pick the Bucks. I didn't even have the Pacers coming out of the first round because guess who they played in the first round? The Bucks. So I'm going to give you my predictions for this first round. This will be a pretty short video. Got some things to do today. Real busy day today. But Pacers Celtics starts today. I thought it started tomorrow, to be honest with y'all. I thought the conference finals... Oh, I'm an idiot. Today is Monday. The conference finals do start tomorrow with the Pacers at the Celtics. So this is the only video y'all are going to get today. Y'all won't get a recap today because there's no games today. I was looking at ESPN, and I forgot that if there's no game on a day, they just don't have that day on the schedule for that league at all. So I was looking at Tuesday. The conference finals actually do start tomorrow. I'm not tripping. All right, cool. Because I was like, how did the Pacers just play yesterday and now they have another game today and start the conference finals? That doesn't make sense to me at all, but whatever. All right, y'all, so whatever. They start tomorrow. But here's what my picks are going to be. I'm going to pick... I do think Indiana's the best team that based on his fault. I think Indiana is the best and most healthy team that Boston has gone up against this postseason. So I do think Indiana will give them a little more trouble, especially when Indiana's such a great offensive team. If Boston has an off night offensively or an off night defensively, they're going to lose that game probably versus Indiana. So I'm going to pick I'm going to pick Boston to win in 6. Now, some of my homies were saying Boston in 4, Boston in 5. I don't think it's going to be a sweep because Boston... Now, however... If Boston does get challenged by Indiana, I think that's actually a good thing. If Indiana takes them to 6 or 7, I think that's actually a good thing. So that way they're not waiting until the finals to get tested. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Celtics in 6. I'm going to say I trust Joe Mazzulla. I trust the Celtics way more. I think if Tatum needs to, he will show up in these games, especially the way he showed up in the last 2 games versus Cleveland. Maybe he's now just starting to heat up. We know Porzingis is going to be out for at least the first 2-3 games, I'm assuming. At least we know he's at least out tomorrow, but I'm assuming he's going to be out for the first 2-3-ish games. I don't think that's going to be too big of a deal for them because like Al Horford dealt with Mobley and Jared Allen, so he's going to have to deal with Miles Turner. That's not a big deal for him. Miles Turner's not a big threat. I'm going to take... So there's only 2 series, obviously. I'm going to take Celtics in 6. I'm going to say, because the Celtics were my championship favorite, so getting them to the championship looks good for me. I do think they are going to win the championship. I think if they would have gone to Denver, if they would have had to face Denver, I think they would have lost. But since they're going against Minnesota, and they have so many bodies to throw at guys like Anthony Edwards, and then they have so many bodies that can score offensively, that Minnesota's defense is like, I think Minnesota's kryptonite with how good their defense is and how like streaky their offense is will be a team like Boston where they have guys that can defend at every single position at every single level with length, but they also have guys that can score anywhere on the floor, do anything you want them to do offensively. And I think Minnesota just doesn't have enough top tier talent, to be honest with you. Like Anthony Edwards is a dog. I'm still not trusting Cat. He came up in last night's game big, but I'm not trusting him in a 7-game series, especially versus a team like Boston that has so many bodies they can throw at him. They can put Tatum on him. They can put Porzingis, Horford. They can put Luke Cornett when he comes off the bench. Like they can put Sam Howell. They can put so many people on these guys that I'm not really concerned. It was like the same way that they did to Denver with Jokic, except they don't have a guy even anywhere near as talented as Jokic. So the Celtics don't need a defender like Rudy Gobert or that many talented bigs to guard guys like Cat, Gobert, and Naz Reid. They have plenty of bodies themselves, and they have bodies at more important positions that can do more things on both sides of the ball. Tatum, he's a very solid defender. He's lengthy. He can get some shot blocks, and we know what he can do on the offensive side of the ball. Jaylen Brown, he's quick. He's strong, he's athletic, we know he can defend, good wings, good guards, we know he's good at the game, we know that he can score offensively as well, and especially when he's the second option, if Jason Tatum plays the way that we know Jason Tatum can play, and we're not even asking Jaylen Brown to do a whole lot, I'm trusting Jaylen Brown a lot. We know what Derek White can do. He can go out there and give you 30, and he can guard the second best perimeter player on the team. We know Drew Holiday can go out there and be streaky offensively, hit some shots when you need him to, but not be too big of a part of the offense so he can focus on his perimeter defense. I'm expecting him to get the Anthony Edwards assignment with his strength and with his height, because I think he's like 6'4", 6'3". So I'm expecting him to get that assignment over Derek White. I'm expecting Derek White to be on a guy like a Mike Conley. And then I'm going to expect Tatum, if these 2 teams do meet in the finals, because that's what I'm predicting, I would expect Tatum to be on maybe Jaden McDaniels? Or would they? No, I'll say... Because they're not going to put Tatum on Gobert. So yeah, they'll probably put Tatum on Cat. They'll probably put Jaden McDaniels. They'll probably put Jaylen Brown on Jaden McDaniels. I do believe the Celtics are going to win the finals, but first they have to get through the Pacers. Obviously, I'm going to say Celtics in 6 over the Pacers. I don't trust Tyrese Halliburton. I trust Siakam more than Halliburton, but I don't trust him to be a number 1 option, especially again versus a team as good as Boston. However, I do believe that Pascal Siakam will be better, at least for the first few games of this series, or I believe he will need to be better than Halliburton will, because he has the better matchups than Halliburton does. Halliburton's matchups are way tougher, especially with Porzingis out, than Siakam's are, so you're going to need big production from Siakam. You're going to need Nembhard to show up and play some defense. You're going to need Nesmith to play some defense like he did on Jalen Brunson. You're going to need these guys to do what they're going to do. You're going to need Siakam to play some defense if he does guard Tatum especially. You're going to need him to play some defense. You're going to need Miles Turner to do more than just get some blocks and hit some threes. You're going to need him to play some defense too. You're going to need him to protect your paint. You're going to need him to do these things offensively, be your third offensive option. You're going to need a lot of guys in this. You're going to need TJ McConnell off the bench to show up. You're going to need a lot of guys if you're going to really beat the Celtics. And I don't trust your coach as much as I trust the Celtics coach. I don't trust your stars as much as I trust the Celtics stars. To me, the Celtics are better in legitimately every single way. I'm going to take the Celtics in 6. I could see it going 4 or 5, but I think the Celtics need to get challenged. I think the Pacers are riding hot. They are an underdog. I think they will give them some challenges at least. Even if the series doesn't end up being like close, I do believe the Celtics need to be challenged, and I hope that they are challenged by the Pacers. That's why I'm saying Celtics in 6 and not Celtics in 5 or Celtics in 4, anything like that, like you may be hearing. And then, like I said, I picked the Celtics. I think it'll be Celtics Timberwolves finals. I could see it being the Mavs though. Like I'm not counting out Luka and Kyrie, that team. Those are guys that we have shown, that we have seen show up in the playoffs. Those are guys that we know what they can do offensively. As a defensive team, we know what they did at the trade deadline. We know what those pieces like Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively. We know what all these guys can do. We just saw it in the last 2 series, especially with Derek Lively. We just saw it in the last series. We just saw what a lot of these guys could do. PJ Washington in the last series was great. Derrick Jones Jr. in the last 2 games of the last series was great. I trust the Timberwolves more. They have more bodies. They're hotter. They just beat one of the top 2 teams in basketball for the entire season in most people's eyes. I'm going to pick the Timberwolves. I trust Anthony Edwards. I love their defense, especially with the way that Luka looked a lot better in the last 2 games health-wise, but we still don't know. We still aren't sure. Luka looked a lot better in the last 3 games health-wise, but we aren't sure. We still don't know 100%. Oh, no, it was the last 2 games. He didn't go to game 7. It went to 6, so 5 and 6. In the last 2 games, he looked a lot better health-wise, like offensively. He just looked a lot better, a lot more efficient. I'm happy for Luka. I love that. I want Luka to show up in this series. I'm going to pick Anthony Edwards in them. I'm going to say Timberwolves in 7. I'm going to say Timberwolves in 7 just because I do think Luka had looked a lot healthier, and I think a healthy Luka takes this team to 6 or 7 at the very minimum, especially if Kyrie can show up. But the problem is Kyrie's going to have to get some good first halves. He's going to have to play better in those first halves than he has been, because if you let Anthony Edwards and those Timberwolves get off to a fast start as GGs, we've seen what they can do once they get out to a hot start. We've also seen that they can come back, so you can't get complacent with the lead either. You're going to need guys to show up. Their pieces, I trust less. Their role players, I think, I trust less than the Timberwolves role players, but I trust their top end talent more than the Timberwolves. But I trust Chris Finch and the Minnesota coaching staff more than I trust Jason Kidd and the Dallas coaching staff, even though I do believe Jason Kidd just coached a very good series versus OKC. I'm just going to go ahead and say Timberwolves in 7. I think it'll be a very good series. I do think the Timberwolves will lose in the finals, though, because of a lot of that fatigue is going to be a part of that, too. Like, if they go 7 here after they just went 7 with Denver, it's going to be kind of like what happened to Miami last year, where they were just kind of tired in the playoffs. Now, granted, Miami should have never even gotten that far, but it's like when you go to consecutive Game 7s in the playoffs versus very, very good teams that are going to make you run, that are going to make you play very well, that are going to make you play very physical, that are going to make you play very, very tough basketball. It's tough to go against the 2 good, very, 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 very good teams, 2 top teams in the West in Game 7s. Even if this one does go 7 the way I'm predicting, and then go face Boston, who's been the best team in the league all year, it's tough. Or the second best, if you want to say that over that said that Denver was better than them. It doesn't matter. It's going to be tough for you to go against probably what, in my opinion, was the best 2 teams in the West entering the playoffs, and then going up against what, in my opinion, was the best team entering the playoffs in the Celtics. If that's what the Timberwolves have to go through, if they even beat Dallas, that's one hell of a gauntlet. I don't think either one of these teams really had enough to beat Boston, but I think Timberwolves are the better matchup. I'm not going to start previewing the finals because we don't know what's going to happen yet. I haven't even seen Game 1 of any of the conference finals, but that's my conference finals predictions. I'm going to go Timberwolves in 7. I'm going to go Celtics in 6. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. This was more of just a rambling video, me talking about what I'm looking for these upcoming series. I think this is a big series for Jason Kidd. I think if Jason Kidd wins this one, he saved his job for a long time coming. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what this is. Now, if Joe Mazzulla loses too much or they look too bad versus the Pacers, or even if they lose the finals, I think Joe Mazzulla's gonna have some people calling for his job, especially if they look bad versus the Pacers. Like if they go out there and let the Pacers take them to 7, I think there's gonna be some people really mad at Joe Mazzulla with how good that team is. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. Have a good, blessed day, man. No hoops on today, so go find something to do. Talk to God. Do something. I love y'all.